Go ahead.
Welcome to the
Hi, and
90th minute
welcome
of
to
support. I
the
just told you I was going to lead it. I
record.
just
It
said I was
started
going.
and didn't say anything.
No, but that's the thing. I just told you that I was going to lead us off. Welcome to the 90th minute whistle podcast. I wanted to say that this was our final whistle for the season, but technically it isn't because we cover a lot of
We have
different
Euros
stuff
and
from
Copa.
not just that, but like we'll cover a lot of other leagues, and throughout the summer you'll realize the depth of the podcast you really listen to and the podcasters you listen to because most guys who do sports podcasts or at least football podcasts, they're going to talk about the Euros and stuff. But I think this is the perfect opportunity, like to show off the other leagues that are around the world. Because a part of the reason why people think that the only good football you can watch is in Europe is because we've led with that narrative and we've grown into that narrative. But I think that this summer is the perfect chance to show you guys that Asian football is actually much better than you think it is. South America is heating up right now with the Copa Libertadores. The group stages have just ended. Watched the last match last night with Belarus, but we'll get into that on our next podcast. But yeah, we'll be covering the Euros and stuff like that. But I really think that this is an opportunity to show off the Saudi leagues, the African leagues, uh, other leagues from around the world that are much more entertaining. That we give them credit because again, we've been bred into in the Western world. We've been bred into the narrative that the only person who can kick a ball straight is in Europe. So
I
you
wouldn't say kick a ball straight, but
no, but you get what I'm saying. It's a
um,
little exaggeration. But
yeah, European football it's at the top of the pyramid, and
no doubt,
most
no doubt, no
persons
doubt, no
aren't
doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
interested in Asian football or South American football.
Yeah, but I
You know,
think that
they're only
I think
interested in European football. So,
no, but I
from a
think
bigger like when looking at market appeal, it
no,
makes
but
sense to focus on what
no, but
everybody's searching for.
no, I wouldn't say that because it's not what you're searching for. It's what you were bred into. It's not like everybody said, okay, let's look at all the football around the world and just say, okay, well, you know what, Europe is just that. No, it's just been that you've grown into that narrative. So you don't get to see the improvement that others have made because you're stuck in that one track mind. And it's not just because of demand necessarily. It's what's been put in front of your face ever since. Granted, it should be at the top of the pyramid, but I think it's just a good chance to show you that these guys aren't far off from European football, is what I'm trying to say. And you can still watch some
Mhm.
entertaining matches from all around the world. And I guess I'll be bringing them to live sports to show them off a bit more and give these because again, if you have tunnel vision, you're not going to be open to what else is going on. And we keep on forgetting,
That is true.
and we keep on forgetting, Europe, out of all of the top leagues in Europe, aren't some of the best players South American, African, Asian,
Yeah, but it's funny that most of these top players they
don't
don't
come from
play in
Europe?
their. No, I'm not saying they don't come from Europe, but you should remember that most of these top players, most of them have
They
never
didn't,
applied their trade in Africa. They were scouted when they were kids and brought to Europe,
and I
where
disagree with
they
that
were
statement.
at some European academy,
I
and
disagree
then
with that
they
statement.
were
Well, no,
they
I
moved.
disagree. Well, no, I disagree with that statement because that is a true statement to some extent, but I still think that there are a lot of players who have done that, who have applied their trade in their home leagues, who have or even if not, for example, we speak about youngsters like Takefusa Kubo. Kubo was already
Mhm.
playing in Japan. Hiroki Abe, who currently plays at Barca right now and is one of our best youngsters in our academy. He
Yeah,
was a
but all right.
he was a
I was
starter.
I was I was
He was a starter
I was
at Kashima Antlers playing against Real Madrid in a Club
that
World
is
Cup
true, but
final.
I was thinking more along the lines of like, all right, the Japanese league is considered to be a top league, right?
Where in
And
Asia?
in Asia, yes, it's considered to be a
Yeah.
top league in Asia. It's also
Kagawa
it's
hold
also
on, hold on. Shinji Kagawa was playing in the league before he went to Borussia Dortmund and won the title.
exactly. So
Well, let's go to Kiyosaki Honda, who is maybe one of the most popular Japanese players of all
Yeah,
time.
but then remember, like I said, even from the days of when you had Nakata, when Nakata was playing, the
He
Japanese
came
league
from
was always,
Japanese league.
yeah, but I'm saying the Japanese league has always been seen as a top league internationally.
I wouldn't say
So
that. Again, I wouldn't say that.
internationally,
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
no,
I
okay,
wouldn't say
in
that.
terms of footballing scouts, in terms of
Oh yes,
where
definitely,
clubs,
definitely,
it was always
definitely.
seen as an international league. What I was talking about is more your African basin, your South America, your South Africa, your Ivory Coast, your
And
Cameroon,
I disagree. Well,
Ghana.
you can't put South Africa in that category.
No, the South African league is a good league in Africa, but in
No, no, no.
terms
What
of
I'm
its
saying is
international appeal,
that no.
it
That's what
doesn't
I'm
have
saying.
the
Hold on, hold
same
on, hold on,
level
hold on, hold
as
on.
the Japanese league.
And here's where I disagree with that. Here's where I disagree with that. That partially had to do with a lot of racism, because I would argue that the South African League has been more, or at least has been more recognized even by England. And this is where I'll give England a lot of credit, even though they were the ones who were angry at a lot of South Africans. A lot of Europeans did not like how South African players played, and it wasn't because of necessarily the quality of football, but it was the showboating style of South African football. You look back at, I'll use the perfect match. The perfect match to use as an example of this was when Tottenham played against the Orlando Pirates. This was probably a little bit after I born, but I've always watched the match over again, but I didn't watch it live. I was way too young back then. But that match proved that that European football wasn't far off from African football. And at the time, South Africa was one of the dominant teams in African football. So I wouldn't use, and they had a breeding ground for African players. And the players that they took from South Africa at that time ended up in the English Premier League. Like, for example, we can use Ben Jani, who ended up at Manchester City and played for all of the other Premier League clubs as well. But we can use him as the first example because no. Steven Pienaar had injuries, but Steven Pienaar played for Borussia Dortmund, played for Everton, who he really made his name with, and he also ended up at Tottenham where he started to get injured and stuff like that. And of course, they had Gareth Bale and Clint Dempsey, so he couldn't start on either wing. Plus, his injury problems were piling up, so he went back to Everton. Played well in his last spell at Everton, but he was older at the time. So I wouldn't necessarily put, so they've always given respect to South African football, is what I'm saying. Europe has always somewhat given respect to South African football. The rest of Africa isn't highlighted, as you said. But that's because of that's more internal problems. That's more of infrastructure. Can you put it out there? Because a lot of respect to being sports. Them signing deals with African leagues is one of the reasons why I love being sports. And places like Gold TV, who introduced me to the Japanese league. But we have a chance to me now to actually help a lot of these leagues by actually covering some of them during especially this Euros period. Because again, after the Euros and the Copa America, we should be back into the season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so over this summer, I think it would be good to show off the other leagues. I was watching the Mexican League last night, an exciting finals. I don't like the fact that the finals is 2 legs. Especially now that they've removed the away goals rule. You can no longer win the finals with the away goals rule. I don't know if that's better. I don't know if that's more exciting. Because I think you should just play one final and call it a night.
I believe so. You know, funnily, UEFA has this new proposal that they're coming in with, and they're calling it a festival of football, where the Champions League semifinals will move to one leg, just one leg, and the whole city. So it will be a 1 month thing, right?
Oh, okay.
So at the end
So
of the season,
so let's say
that's
that they
where
have
at
it.
the
So let's say
end
that
of the domestic season.
so let's say that they have it in Istanbul, right? Let's say that they're hosting it in
Yes,
Istanbul
yes.
for that
So you will have
month.
the semifinals in Istanbul and the
Yeah,
finals within
in
that
it.
same month.
Yeah.
So the whole city will have a festival of football for that entire month. Now, the logistics of this is that for fans, it makes no sense for you to book a hotel room and stuff to watch the semifinals and then fly back to your home country,
And then
fly
fly
back
back again.
again to the finals. If you make it to the finals, it makes better sense to book your stays going throughout. So
Yeah,
what
but then
happens
you
when
have
your
to go
team
about
don't make it to the finals?
no, but here's my thing though. You have work and them thing there. Like you can't just take a month off from work and say, hey, I'm going to Istanbul for the month and you know?
This is
I
Europe.
mean,
Yes, 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 you can.
you sure?
Yes, European countries are very flexible in terms of how your work week is done and time outs and those stuff. It's only on this side of the
True.
planet.
No,
Them
true, but
working like horses.
no, true, but what I'm saying is
And plus, remember, most European countries are adopting a 4-day work week instead of a 5-day work week. In Germany, it's a 4-day work week.
yeah, but granted, what I'm saying is
And
that not
productivity has increased tenfold.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that not everybody's a
No,
job.
most true, but most like the persons who can afford to do that normally have jobs where they are
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But what
what
I'm
would I say? They save their vacation days, so it revolves around like these major European finals and stuff. Because what most fans are going to do, they're going to fly into the country on the day of the finals.
I just think it's inconvenient for the average earner. I just think it's
No, it
very
is.
inconvenient for the average
It's
earner.
very inconvenient. Because I'm saying a lot of because even right now for the Champions League final tomorrow, right? A lot of fans are already in Portugal.
You should be.
You see me? A lot of fans are already there. They've been well, I had like on the Chelsea fan forum, you had fans who were once we got to the semifinals, they were already, making preliminary bookings
You should be.
for like hotel rooms
Get
and
a place
stuff
in
like that.
Lisbon. Get a place in Lisbon.
Yeah, exactly. They were making these type of arrangements, and they were already sounding out hotel prices because most fans aren't booking a hotel in the city that the final is being kept. Like I know one girl, she is in, oh my god, she's down the coast near towards the Spanish border, and
Mhm.
she's driving up to the finals, like a 4-hour drive along the coast of Portugal up to Porto to get
It
into
should
the.
be. Yeah, but because you see the problem with renting a place directly where the finals will be is are close to the
Expensive.
finals. It's going to be very expensive.
Yeah. So
Especially
a lot of
and the
fans,
prices will be raised because it's the final.
of course, the fans are going to be. So if you weren't, it's only the die-hearted fans, that have super belief book their tickets and hotel prices from the start of the season, where it's like dirt cheap. But a lot of fans are upset at UEFA because um, UEFA wanted the clubs to have like this ticketing scheme, and in essence, any tickets that weren't sold under a special program had to be returned back to UEFA. So Chelsea had to give back something like 1,000 tickets when the demand for like the persons who weren't on that program to
Yeah.
get tickets was so high. And a lot of fans, like the Chelsea supporters trust is pissed, the City supporters trust, they're all pissed at UEFA. And I would be upset as well because you have 1,000 tickets available, right? All the members got their tickets. Why not allow the club to sell these tickets to their fans on the loyalty system that they already have? And the loyalty system it awards fans who are consistent visitors to the stadiums,
Yeah, but
who are
still,
always there, always
yeah,
watching
but
the
even
matches.
yeah, but even if you don't want to do it on the loyalty system, UEFA, you still can get your cut in it. You still can get your
No,
cut.
but the
Just let
thing,
us
look,
sell the
they will get their
tickets.
cut anyway.
Yeah,
So
that's what
all
I'm
you're
saying.
doing
Yeah,
is that you're
minimum.
allowing the club to sell these tickets to fans who want. The Chelsea are to send back tickets. Why are they
There's
sending
a
back tickets when there is demand for tickets?
there's a phrase, there's a phrase, and I may be using it wrong in this situation, but it have something. Wait, go again. Yep, you spite your some for spite your face.
Oh yeah,
Cut off
you
your nose
cut
to
off
spite
your
your
nose
face.
to spite your
To
face.
spite your
Yes.
face. Why are UEFA always doing something to try and tell the clubs, hey, we're the ones in power here? Stop doing that shit. That's why this Super League bullshit happens. You're always trying to strong arm people or show that some level of
Exactly.
I am running this, I am running this place, Stop
And
creating
it's like,
tension. Stop creating
and it's like
tension.
I
Just
said to you,
work
you
with
know,
everybody now. Just
the
work with everybody,
only
goddamn.
reason why the Super League collapsed was because it was a closed off system.
Yeah,
Any
because
other
you
day
didn't
they said
want
that here,
you did,
the
yeah.
top four from every league, just like the Champions League, goes into the Super League. It would have been, no domestic league would have said, nah. I think the European Club Association was going to turn them back on that because they're going to realize that it's all go on still. UEFA now run this thing properly. UEFA take 90% of the revenue where the clubs them generate. So if in this system, all the revenue is given out to the clubs, then why not just work with the clubs and tell UEFA to leave? Let the clubs be the governing body.
But no, but and this is the
You see, all
problem.
UEFA is doing, and UEFA doesn't even realize all they're doing, And there was a journalist that said it. He said that as much as the Super League was a bad idea, UEFA is continually proving why the Super League existed in the first place.
Yeah, because you keep on doing this dumb shit where you're trying to flex your power. Stop. You're not creating. You're
Because
not make it better for
the boards
nobody.
of both City and Chelsea had to put their foot down when UEFA wanted to change how the tickets would be given to the fans. Like both of the clubs had to let them know that, if you don't work this in our favor of our fans, then you have to go find two clubs to complete the Champions League final. And UEFA can't do that because the last two they get from Roman Abramovich and Sheikh Mansour, they'll probably send them bankrupt.
Yeah, fuck with
And
Saudis and Russians. Don't piss off Saudis. Pick an enemy. Pick an enemy, but don't pick two of them. Pick an enemy,
and
but don't
Sheikh
pick two of them.
Mansour did already say, I will purposely have you report for the next 10 years until you go bankrupt.
You want to piss off the Saudi royal family, and you want to piss off one of the man them where when Vladimir Putin did get in a power, he was and say, oh, you know what? Exactly. Him say, you know what? You see where this is going? Let me go put.
No, to be funny,
Wait.
When Roman
stop piss off people like that.
Putin.
No, but you stop piss off people like that. Right? Yeah.
He was the one that was in charge of interviewing people for Putin's staff. So he is the one betting.
We call them not Ozarks, oligarchs, right?
Oligarchs, yes.
Oligarchs.
And it's funny, John Terry had a story where it wasn't Terry, it was another reporter for the Athletic, right? And he said that they were stuck on a runway in Moscow, and they had to come back to England the same day because they had a match at the weekend. And while they were stuck, they were like tons of planes on the runway, and they were like 20th in the line because snow was falling and the planes couldn't take off, right?
Usual Russian.
So, exactly. And the players and the journalists was like, look, we won't be able to make it back to England in time for the match. And Dan Torres said, no problem, calm down. I'll call Roman. And the journalist said that Dan Torres picked up his phone and he said, Roman, we're at XNX airport and we're stuck on the runway. What can you do for us? And the journalist said that by the time Terry hung up the phone, all he heard was the pilot telling the passengers to please be seated. We're now preparing to take off. And they overtook every plane on the runway and took off.
I don't think you should piss off people like that. I don't think you should piss off those type of people. Like you piss off the Saudi royal family, and you piss off one of Putin guy.
No, it's not even like some Saudi businessman,
No, you're talking about the royal family. What the fuck is wrong with you?
And they say
UEFA,
you
what are
punch
you trying to prove? What are you trying to? Yeah. Everybody, you want to prove that you're a part, you're a governing body in football. But stop, you don't need to flex your muscle all the time. You're gonna piss off the
because
wrong person.
and if you're pissing off the fans, like you're pissing off the fans and you're pissing off the clubs. Like you can't piss off the fans, but don't piss off the clubs, you know.
You
But
have
if the
piss off
fans
who are
are
coming at
pissed,
this. You have piss off who
the
are coming at the
fans
stadium, and you have piss off who own the stadium. How that work?
because if the fans are pissed, you know who's going to be getting those messages. The fan representative at each of these clubs. And
Exactly.
then he's going to send that on to the board, and then they're going to be like, just let our fans buy the flipping ticket. Anyway, you take it, if it's $1,000 per ticket, we're gonna still get to no cut. Wow, what's the problem?
Again,
Uh-huh.
UEFA have this thing, and this is where I
Whoever
like
needs to
FIFA.
take a page out of FIFA book, stop meddling, don't concern you.
That's one of the things I like about FIFA. Them have them corruption fuckery, but at the same time, them not always
They
a try to
don't
flex them
meddle.
power. Yeah, them not always a try to flex them power. Them not always a try to show you, yes, we are the governing body of football. Like them not always a try to flex, brother. Just give them World Cup. Them will even do corrupt shit to get World Cups to a desert. But still,
Exactly.
them not every
They
day I
ain't
try
going
to do
around
something.
and they're not trying
Actu-
to piss off the associations that will make the World Cup possible.
Exactly. Them not
And
always I
UEFA
try to
has a
flex them
tendency of
muscle.
pissing off the clubs that make the Champions League possible.
Now
It's funny.
this managerial merry-go-round. Let's get into it quickly because
Simone
now
Inzaghi is the new manager of Inter Milan. Allegri should
Simeone.
be
I
signing his
expected that. I
contract.
expected that. I expected that. I expected that. I
Really,
expected
you
that.
expected
I
that?
was I was just saying it yesterday. If we did record this yesterday, I would have said it on the podcast yesterday. But you did say this morning, so no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
It was the
Allegri
first. It
going
was
back
the
to
first
Juve.
person came to my mind. It was the first thing that came. That we didn't know
I
that
would have
from
think
Pirlo.
Sarri would have gone. I don't think
No, no,
Sarri.
no. I've said this. Sarri is either going to take Tottenham or Argentina based on what Scaloni does. Because if they do not win this Copa America in Argentina, know that Colombia has withdrawn from the withdrawn from the pool
Yeah,
because
but isn't Brazil still the favorite? So
not necessarily because Brazil haven't been hot in that. There's no South American team that's hot right now. None. Zero. There's nobody
yeah,
that's playing well.
but I think
So
Brazil has a better squad or a more balanced squad.
I disagree with that. Um the only problem I see for Argentina is I don't even
Well,
say
we
I
have home
wouldn't
field advantage. All the matches will be played in Argentina.
I wouldn't say that's an advantage when it comes out to Argentine fans. Because Argentine fans, South American fans in general, your home field
Football is
advantage is
tribal.
your
It's
home field
toxic,
advantage is you have home field advantage when you're winning.
hostile
When what
environment.
when you're losing and you're there home in Argentina or Brazil or Colombia, your own fans will treat you worse than the team that you're playing against. Your home field advantage is if you're winning.
When it should be the other way around.
Exactly.
You need the voice of the fans even louder when you're losing.
No, sir. As soon as
Crush the
you gotta
morale of the crush the morale of the opposition team.
no man, South American fans like them have a messed up
I know this is
mentality
the difference
already.
between like you can draw the contrast between the South American fans and European fans. And I remember Werner gave an interview yesterday and he said that when he was in Stamford Bridge and hearing the fans singing his name and giving him that boost and encouragement, he said yeah, it made him want to work harder to make more runs, to do more things. And that was one of his best performances of the season. And I think this season in the Premier League is the only season in top flight English football where all the clubs won away from home than at home.
Yeah,
And it shows you how big of an importance
fans are.
fans are when you're playing at home. Because when you're going to Newcastle, St. James Park, when you're going into Goodison Park and it's empty, You're like, so, all right, Everton is a walkover team. But when you're there and they have 20,000 Evertonians in there singing and cheering and booing,
It's different.
you as the opposition, you're like, damn. Every touch that you make is a
That's why
chorus
people.
of boo.
That's why
And
people
every
hate that.
touch that the Everton player make is like they're willing the ball into the net. And the
No, but
pressure
that's
that they put on the ref as well. Jesus.
but that's why people hate playing in the Azteca. Not only is it
Exactly.
difficult. Not only
Because
not
it's
only
a
is it
cauldron
difficult
of
to
it's a
breathe.
cauldron.
Not only is it difficult to breathe, but that stadium is like an echo chamber. Like how it's built, it's like a
You know,
goddamn.
it's funny, because the same design, like the same acoustic design of the Azteca,
Mm.
Roman Abramovich, the Chelsea that he wants to
Most money,
build,
I would even say that I would say the Camp
it's
New
the
was built
same,
like that.
it's the same acoustic design where the fans' voice, the fans' voice are amplified.
Exactly, and I wouldn't say just Stamford Bridge. I would go New Camp. There's a couple other stadiums that were built specifically like that, but
Yeah, to
the New Camp
amplify the fans.
not just amplify it, but the way the shape of the stadium, I think the Allianz
Yes, the
as well,
shape of it is
it makes it
conducive
look
to
like the
watching
fans
football
are. It makes the fans
right
from
in
the
your
players'
face.
perspective. No, it makes you feel like they're on top of you. So the voices are raining down on you. It feels like the voices are
Mhm.
raining down on
And how the ceiling is designed, it compresses
you.
the
Yeah, that's it.
sound.
Yeah, it keeps it in an echo chamber where it's just raining down on you. So with the Mexican fans, people hated playing at Azteca because one, it's hard to breathe at that
Oh
altitude,
God, man.
and then with the dust from the desert, you feel like you're dead. And then the fans them are so loud, and that
So
stadium
not
is
only
built.
so not only you can't breathe, but the weather
Yeah,
conditions are not good. And then you have a
sun
couple
at.
thousand fans just
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Steer the sun right in your face. You know have a cloud I look for. And just desert
and
air,
and
dry
people wonder
desert
why
air.
Mexico has a near perfect record in that stadium.
Exactly, exactly. People hate playing here. People
As
hate
an
playing
opposition
there.
fan, you just want to leave.
You just want to leave. You just want to leave. You just want to leave.
I
So
remember
I want.
every time the Reggae Boys had to play at the Azteca,
No,
it
was
was like the worst night.
I remember when we drew at the Azteca. I will celebrate like we win the
Yeah,
match. We'll celebrate like a we
exactly.
win. We'll celebrate like a we win the match. It was a
And
1-1
for
draw.
persons who don't like pay attention to CONCACAF, they will understand how oppressive it is to play in somewhere you can hardly breathe. The sun is directly on top of you. The humidity is yeah, the heat is dry, the wind is dry, and
The
then you
area
have
was
like
dry.
30,000 fans just it's like playing football in the Sahara Desert.
And then one bag of people are scream, a climb fence, and then you have the Mexican wave, and the people them just never them
And
up
the
music always
vuvuzelas
a
and the
play
drums and
exactly. The drums and everything. It just loud and annoying if you play right there. So and again,
like, you can't focus on the game.
exactly.
So
But
I
this
think, but I think all football stadiums should be that way because when you go to another team stadium, it should be hostile environment. It should be hostile territory. It shouldn't walk in there feeling that it's a walk in the park. There's a
that's
reason
what
why at Anfield you always have these miracles at Anfield and a great European night. Liverpool would have probably get past them Champions League game if they had fans in that stadium when they were playing against was it Madrid?
Madrid, yeah.
Yeah, when they missed those chances, they would have probably the fans would have probably willed or screamed those chances into the goal.
But that's what drew me to Turkish football because when I used to see Galatasaray and Fenerbahce, that rivalry, when you look inside that stadium and see the what you call those the flares,
Yes. Oh God, man.
when you see the goddamn flares and people are fling cheer up on the field and like a rip out stadium seats and a throw up on the field, like man, not lie, Turkish football improved them security at them stadiums
Oh,
because
well, they have to.
what it was in the early 2000s, a player could barely take a corner kick and a flare with it.
It's a very Eastern European thing, because when you look at couple like Eastern European matches and you look at those stadiums, like you as the opposing
Yeah, look
team,
at
like
Serbia.
how
Look
you
at
feel,
Serbia.
going into those stadiums? And you fear for your
Yeah,
safety.
yeah, like you look on the Serbia, you see when Red Star Belgrade and Pirates and Belgrade are play, them
And you
those
look and you see
matches,
red flares all over and the entire air red and the smoke, and you're
the
like, yo,
smoke and everything.
you don't feel scared. Like, are you not scared? I remember they had to mostly River Plate and Boca Juniors match to Europe
Oh my god, oh
because
my
of the
god.
fans them.
So, but I was going to. So when you bring up the team or nothing, I was going to tell you about what Messi said. Messi said the only reason, the one thing that he contemplates going back to Argentina to play for Newell's Old Boys, but the one thing he was contemplating was his family's safety, because if he loses the derby against Rosario Central,
Yeah.
which is the Rosario Derby, Newell's Old Boys versus Rosario Central. Di Maria and Mascherano come from Rosario Central.
Yeah,
But he said if he goes back to Argentina, those are different types of fans.
exactly.
They would have to ensure the safety of his family for him to go back to Newell's. I remember when he was discussing it, he was saying that it's not that he doesn't want to go back to Argentina to play, but that's
No, but
different
South
from
American football is a different beast in itself.
exactly. And like I
They,
told you, the South
they
American
live,
fans,
eat, and breathe football.
that's why people another stadium that people don't like playing in, La Bombonera, and I don't understand why Argentina never uses it for their national stadium, which is the Boca
Mhm.
Juniors Stadium. That stadium is another one that is like that sticker. People hate playing there. But everybody loves when the Copa Libertadores is played there.
Mhm.
But yeah, River
I know.
Plate, River Plate got fined because they threw stuff at the bus window. They threw things
Exactly,
and
and
broke the
they
bus window
still
for Boca Juniors.
like European football used to have the same thing as well. Hooliganism, and everybody knows about the hooliganism that plagued English football for years,
Yeah.
and it gave football fans a bad reputation. But the difference with Europe and South America is that the fans in Europe can get away with none of what the fans in South America can get away with,
Worse if you're in
because those
Colombia.
are police states, and
Exactly.
there are cameras every inch that you can do, and facial recognition. So even if you go through a flare, they will find the exact seat that you were sitting on when you threw that flare, and the police is turning up at your door. In South America, yeah, throw all the flares you want. Matter of fact, you might see the security guards throwing the flares too.
Yeah, because of the security guard, especially because how River Plate and Boca Juniors derby. One of the things that people don't understand that's underlined about that derby is that River Plate are seen as the rich people, the upper
Mm-hmm.
class, the mid
Yes.
the mid upper class to the upper class people. Your family gets to play for River Plate. All of the working class fishermen and the lower class people in society, the
Mm-hmm.
regular working man, they're a part of Boca Juniors. So that's also a part of the rivalry. So it gets
That's
real
and yes,
heated.
and both clubs have also benefited that their academies have been great export to the European games,
Yeah.
because every year they're just exporting footballers into Europe.
And
Them
and
just
ra-
you know
Racing Club is another good club as well.
yes, and
Um,
another good one. But Europa League final, Unai Emery, the master of the Europa League. I don't know
I
why. I
wouldn't.
don't know why United fans think that they stood a chance.
I honestly don't know. Like I never bet against United when he's in a final in the Europa League final. Never bet against him. He had a shit
You know,
Sevilla team. Like
his
his Sevilla
only
team.
Europa League
Gone.
that he lost, he had an Eden Hazard masterclass to show him that yet this is why I'm top three, one of the top three players in the world.
No, but here's the thing. If that Chelsea team had played Unai Emery, a Spanish team that Unai Emery was coaching, I think it would have been a different final. Even if Chelsea
I think it would have done. Yeah, I think it would have been a different final. Like,
is a fact.
Chelsea,
Listen,
Chelsea would have probably won because Hazard terms up for finals.
no, the level of talent.
And
we had as usual. We had Champions League players playing in the Europa.
Exactly. But Unai Emery, and on BT Sport after the final, I don't remember which pundit said it, but he said something, and a lot of persons wouldn't even understand. But he said, "This is what happens when you give Unai Emery a team that speaks his native language.
Yeah.
This is the result of it."
Yeah. But no, but
at Arsenal, his English wasn't the best, so he couldn't communicate properly. Same with Sarri in England. He couldn't communicate his ideas properly. But when you give them a team that they speak their native tongue, you see the result.
But that's why
Villarreal.
But that's what I was saying before the final. I cannot bet against Unai Emery this month because he's coaching Villarreal. If he was coaching Villarreal, Real Sociedad, Athletic Bilbao, Sevilla, Real Betis, any Spanish team, Celta Vigo, he would win that final.
Emery is not the greatest league manager, but Emery's cut from the same class as your Mourinho, your Pep.
Oh no, they win cups.
Your Rafa Benitez. When they are in a final, they know how to win a final.
And that's the thing. I don't
they
think
know how to
Emery
go through a cup. They know how to progress through knockout rounds.
And again, I don't think Unai Emery is a bad league manager.
No, he's not a bad league manager.
His Sevilla teams were finishing like third or fourth,
That could challenge for the league. He never had a team that was.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And he always had one player. Won La Liga with a Valencia team that could challenge for the title.
Oh no, that was a star-studded Valencia team. That was a Valencia team where most players were playing for Spain.
Like Simeone, Antonio Conte. These are great managers in the league. But when you ask them to win a knockout competition,
that's true.
It's 50-50. Sometimes they fail because Emery knows how to set up his team to go out there, grab a goal, and grind out a result. Win a match.
And hit you on the counter hard.
Why looking at the Champions League final, City is the overwhelming favorite. But what other persons don't understand, looking back at 2012, Bayern could have beat Chelsea 99 times that season.
Out of 100.
But when you're in a one-off match, that's when you should be at your most.
Remember why not? That Chelsea team was on its literal last leg.
As a favorite, to be very, very wary of the underdog. In our league match, they'd be like, all right, you know what? We have 50 more matches. We get back the points we lose today. But when we know, say, here what? I only have one match, one chance. Cup football brings out something that is unrivaled with league football. A league tells you who is the best team over a stretch of matches. That's why it's called a league. And the most consistent team normally ends up at the top. But in a cup football, it doesn't matter who's the most consistent. It's who has the ability to win the game on that specific day. And Emery has mastered that. 3 times with Sevilla, now with Villarreal. 5 Europa League finals, 4-1. What more do you want to see? Perfect.
And he's never been given a team with Champions League level talent. He's never been given a team like that.
So now he's Villarreal, who finished 7th in La Liga, is now in the Champions League. And there's a stat that they said that in 10 finals between English teams and Spanish teams has won all 10. Granted, if Rashford never kicked with the basket, United probably go.
No. Here's the thing. Even if Rashford scored,
because I know the United fans are going to say that they missed an empty net in a boat.
No, but what I'm saying is, I keep saying over and over again. The last thing you want to do with Unai Emery, the smartest thing they did, Man United did, was keep the scoreline. That's the
No, but
smartest
the
thing they did.
problem, is that Ole is to be blamed for United losing the final because he played the long game, right? He played a match. United had the talent and the players on the bench to win that match in 90 minutes. In the second half, Villarreal was hanging on by a string, by a thread. They were barely stopping United. Now, instead of only rolling the dice and bringing on players that could be more influential, who could maybe provide you with that cutting edge, that final shot. Because, like I said, Villarreal, the problem with Unai Emery is that when he sets up his team to be defensive, they go back, they sit too deep, and they allow teams to come onto them.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
And
Emery also,
And in that match, in that
yeah,
second half, United had the chances, and all they need was just that final push over the
yeah,
tilt
but
to
yeah,
get
but
the
here's
ball.
my
But
thing. But
Ole just
here,
sat there and did nothing for 90 minutes.
no, but here's my thing. Here's my thing. I again, as the worst thing you could do for yourself is turn it into a shootout.
No, but if you turn
That's
this match into a shootout, United wins.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly because of you
Come
and
on,
I.
Villarreal does not have the firepower to
Neither did
beat United in a
neither
shootout.
did Sevilla against Liverpool. Because that was the worst out of the three Sevilla teams that won the Europa League. That was by far
Mhm.
the worst put together one.
That is
The
true,
one,
but Klopp
the,
was
no, no, no,
Klopp was still building his Liverpool team.
no, no, no.
They
But
still
what I'm
haven't.
saying,
They were still learning how to play Klopp style of football. That was the
no,
difference.
no. But here's my thing. With what Klopp could have thrown at Sevilla in waves. But what I'm saying is Klopp could have thrown talent at Sevilla in waves.
Yes, but
When it
again, the difference between Klopp, Liverpool, and Ole's United. Klopp was still teaching them how to play his style of football. So throwing more talent at them would have probably done the exact opposite than it would have done to tilt it in his favor because they were still learning how to play.
yeah, but this Villarreal team
In
isn't a
Ole's
VR.
favor,
Yeah.
right? This United team knew how to play and they were executing what they needed. And to be honest with you, Rashford should have been pulled off, should have been substituted because he had an awful game.
I won't.
Rashford's
I'm not
performance in that
saying no to
final
that.
was
I'm not
poor.
saying no to that. But I'm
What
saying that
what United lacked was fresh legs within that 90 minutes and fresh ideas. And he had players on the bench to do that. But he did nothing for 90 minutes.
no. But what
You
I'm
had
saying
them,
is
Villarreal was up against the ropes in the corner of the ring, barely being able to block the punches. And what you needed was just fresh legs to knock the wind out of them. But
yeah.
you
But here's
allowed
my
them to regroup in
Leon.
extra time.
They have other people to VRL isn't just what they're starting
Yes,
eleven.
Villarreal has a lot of people, and it's true. But like I'm saying, Mario, in that second half, they literally did not move from their 18-yard box.
And there were times when
United
that's
had them pinned.
yes. But even if you look back at that Liverpool Sevilla match, that Liverpool dominated the match overall. Sevilla were always hanging on, but the one thing you don't want to do in a UNI Emery final with a Spanish team is turn it into a shootout. Because I
And
think
okay, so
Emery's
who
team
on
would
this
win.
Villarreal team is going to outscore United
Paco Alcacer, Gerard Moreno, Moy Gomez, the youngster
versus
that they
versus Cavani, a Greenwood who's on fire, a Pogba, a Bruno, a Martial, a
I'm glad you
Rashford,
brought that.
a Mata.
I am glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because we're going to use the same thing with the whole Liverpool team. That entire Liverpool team was better than that Sevilla team. There's literally
Yes, but like
nobody
I'm
name as
saying,
I
that
can call.
Liverpool team was learning. This
No, what I'm
United team is not learning anymore.
no, but Leon, what I'm saying to you is that the Sevilla team that played that Liverpool team, it's not the Rakitic Sevilla team. It's not the Banega
I
Sevilla team.
understand that. You want to know the biggest difference why Villarreal was able to hold on against United's onslaught? Unai Emery made substitutions. He brought on players to help out. to bring. He took off the tired legs and brought on fresh legs.
No,
to
but that's
keep
my
the
point to
system
you.
working.
No, but that's my point to you.
United players were tired both mentally and physically, and Ole did nothing to remedy that.
Again, I don't think it would have changed the end result. Because
It might
again,
not
I
have
think
changed the end result, Mario. But as a manager, you need, when you see that your players, the players on the field are running out of ideas, the
and who in the
players on the
midfield?
field are getting fatigue, mental and
Yeah.
physical fatigue. You bring on players. You don't wait until the opposition was able to rest and Emery was able to adjust his tactics to counter what you were doing in the second half, because United changed their tactics and Emery had no answers to that. In the second half, all he could do was bring on personnel and hope that the
I
fresh
wouldn't say
legs
that.
would help.
No, but that what you're kind of counteracting what you're saying. You're kind of contradicting what you're saying, because Emery did have new. Why he didn't just bring on players for hope that it would work. He knew
No, he brought
who to
on
bring on.
players to remedy the issues, but even the
Exactly.
players that he brought on, they were not remedying the issues. The problem was United players. They were struggling from fatigue, both mentally and physically, right? And what they needed was a calming presence, someone to come on. You maybe take off a player who's running
Who would you take off? Who
empty
would you
and
take off?
zero.
Who
He
would you
took
take
off
off?
no one in 90 minutes.
No, but
He
who
took
would
off
you
no
take
one.
off? Who would you take off? Because
I
I
said
don't see who on the bench.
I would have taken off Rashford. I would have taken off Rashford.
And put
I
on.
would have brought on Mata. And that's what he ended up doing. He ended up bringing on Mata.
Yeah, but I still
But
don't see that as.
all the changes were in extra time for penalties. Ole brought on his penalty takers in extra time. He was not thinking about winning the match in 90 minutes. And if you look at Sir Alex Ferguson, if it was Sir Alex in that situation, he would have made changes to win that match in 90 minutes.
Yeah, but here's
not play for penalties. Ole played for penalties, and that was the worst thing you could have done.
I wouldn't say that. I would say going
take
into
your
a
chances
shootout.
in a shootout.
I disagree
take
with
your
that.
chances in a shootout versus going into extra time with a Unai Emery team where in extra time there's 90% chance that they would have either scored or you lose that penalty shootout. Knowing that De Gea is an awful penalty shootout keeper.
No, but here's the thing. But he did well.
He did what well? De Gea was nowhere close to none of Villarreal shots.
Yeah,
While
but here's
Villa
the thing.
keeper, he had touched 5.
Yeah, I know that rule is that all Argentinian keepers are good at that.
And if you were going to play for the penalties on United side, you should have subbed off De Gea. De Gea has not saved a penalty since 2016.
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. If you go into a shootout with Villarreal, it's a much bigger chance that you lose.
I don't think so, because when you go into a shootout, this is where your quality of players will come to the forefront.
And I think that's what he's thinking for the penalties.
Attackers.
No, but that's where that's what I'm.
All of United penalties were beautiful. I would not deny. The 21 penalties that went in were beautiful penalties.
That's what I'm saying.
Best penalty shootout that I've ever seen. But you have one fatal flaw in that penalty plan. You have a goalkeeper that has not saved a penalty since 2016.
No, what I'm saying is even before it gets to the penalties, you keep the game close with Villarreal. They got that right. Ole got that right. It went to penalties, which it shouldn't have. But the one thing Ole got right, do not turn this into a shootout until you have.
But he should have turned it into a shootout. Do you want to know why?
Late in the game. That's where I agree.
You want to know why you should have turned it into a shootout?
No. It's late in the game.
Look at the Arsenal versus Villarreal match, right? Unai Emery did the same tactics in the final that he did against Arsenal. The problem was Arteta turns that match into a shootout. And that's how Arsenal was able to get back in the game. And the quality of Arsenal attackers, no. Arsenal got their ass knocked out because they failed to score at home. I'm talking the first leg.
No, but my point is
in the first leg. In the first leg, right? In the first half, Unai Emery did what he always did. He got out and he scored first, right?
Yeah.
In the second half, Arteta turned the game into a shootout. Arsenal scored, right?
Yeah, but
They
you
missed
notice
an
what you
empty
said?
net.
You
Well, now
said the
listen to me. They
second
missed
half.
an empty net.
Yeah.
Yes, in the second half, they missed an empty net in the second half, and Villarreal survived. And even Emery admitted it, that they were lucky to come out of that match at 2-1.
No, but that's what I'm saying to you. What I am saying to you is you don't turn it into a shootout immediately. You wait, you keep it close until the end, close to the end of the match, then you turn it into a shootout, which is why I said
But
Ole got
Mario,
one
you
thing
turn it
right.
into a shootout in the second. The same blueprint that he used against Arteta, and Arteta flipped it on him and said, okay, then let's see if the quality of your players can touch my players. Ole should have given his attackers more options when Villarreal was on the ropes. But he did not go in for the kill, because if this was Jose or Pep, they would have gone in for the kill
What
when you're on the ropes.
Leon, what time in the match was this?
But Mario, for the entire second half, Villarreal was pinned into their own 18-yard box.
No, what I'm
United's own enemy was themselves in that match, because Villarreal could do nothing to stop them from cutting their defenses open. They could do nothing to stop it.
But that's not what I saw in the second half. Granted, United dominated the second half. But what I am saying to you is simply
And
this.
that's how Rashford got the chance.
No, definitely.
And he did that Fernando Torres.
No, but what I'm saying to you, and those things will happen. But what I'm saying to you is,
and then
in the
in
case
extra
with you
time,
and
he
I,
did nothing.
Well,
he did nothing.
Let's just sort out the first part of the match first. What Ole did for the majority of the match, to me, he got correct. You kept the scoreline close, which is what you need to do in a final against Emery. You don't give Emery teams time to score back goals, if you get what I'm saying. You don't turn it into a shootout until late, which is where I agree with you. Yes, there are changes that should have been made, but I am asking you at what point. You don't just turn it into a shootout. All right, we'll come out in the second half, let's turn it into a shootout. I don't think that would have been the best way to go. I think you wait late in the game and then turn it into a shootout where they cannot respond to you. You know what? Liverpool made a mistake. You know what mistake that Klopp Liverpool team made? Mm-hmm. They made it a shootout immediately. Stupid idea. Because they have time to get back at you. So
yes,
I think Ole got one thing right.
They made it a shootout immediately.
Ole got
but
one
remember,
thing right.
United was coming. Emery scored first, and he did what he always does. He camps in his box to defend it out.
And then wait to hit you on the counter.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There was no counter. They couldn't counter because United was. Even I was becoming frustrated at how deep Villarreal was sitting, because if United were more calm, or they were more calm, they would have seen the passing options, the plethora of space that they had to work the ball into the back of the net.
But what space was there if all of the Villarreal players are in the box? Because remember, it eventually reached a point where he had Coquelin and Capoue on the field at the same time for two defensive midfielders. Granted, both can actually play as box-to-box midfielders as well, so he isn't losing anything going forward.
Emery played the long game, knowing that his team would fare better in the penalty shootout.
I disagree, and that's the thing. I don't think Emery was expecting to go penalties either. I don't think either manager was. And his team does not favor in the penalty shootout.
You know, English teams have bad records in penalty shootouts.
No, but what you're saying to me is that the quality of players are better in a shootout. Whether that's in the first half or the second half or even in penalties, you have the better quality players. That doesn't favor well for Villarreal in the shoot. As a matter of fact, Villarreal to me did better than I thought they would in the shootout. I didn't
Those
want this
look
to become
well
a penalty for
rehearsed.
them. They're not
This
well
look well
rehearsed.
rehearsed.
They're not well rehearsed. Trust me. This VRL team 9 times out of 10 would not have a perfect penalty shootout. If we were to do this again, Emery should not have made that go to penalties. I thought he should. I didn't think he should have started Carlos Bacca. I thought he would have started Paco alongside Gerard Moreno because they have a better partnership. The two Spaniards, they have a better partnership and working relationship. So I thought they would have started them and then brought on Carlos Bacca as the super sub guy that still is quality enough to score goals. But they went the other way around. They went with Bacca first and then brought on Paco. But anyway, you take it, like this going to a penalty shootout was not ideal for Villarreal. To me, at least, it wasn't ideal for them either.
Yeah, but I know why Ole would fancy himself in the penalty shootout. But if you're in the extra time, right, and you're going to bet on penalties, why not bring on Dean Henderson that has a better success rate at saving penalties than De Gea? De Gea's biggest flaw as a keeper was that he sucks when it comes down to penalties. That was his biggest flaw. I remember it was at United where they subbed on Romero for a penalty shootout.
Yeah, because again, Argentina.
Yeah, it was Van Gaal. Van Gaal did it. He subbed on Romero for a penalty shootout. Just like how he subbed on Cillison for the penalty shootout.
Exactly.
Because they're just better at reading penalties.
Team Crew. He brought on Team Crew.
Yeah, the Team Crew, yes.
But again, Dean Henderson is not a penalty expert. That's the thing.
No, but he's better at saving penalties than De Gea because he has a better success rate than De Gea.
Definitely. But what I'm saying
De Gea has not saved a penalty since 2016.
I don't disagrey with that. Like I said, I don't think.
So why not bring on Dean Henderson that saved penalties in this season? I mean,
in inexperience at this high level compared to De Gea.
It's not a penalty shootout. It's just a penalty shootout.
But he's still in our final.
A lot of United fans know that De Gea. A lot of United fans after the match said that if they had lost the penalties with Dean Henderson in there, they would not be upset or anything. But they know De Gea is poor at penalties. And they did not feel confident with De Gea going into a penalty shootout.
But here's the thing, though. You would be okay with Dean Henderson messing this up because he's an inexperienced goalkeeper who's never been there before. A part of why you're angry at De Gea is because you're a world-class keeper. You should be good at penalties. That's a part of where your anger comes from.
At penalties.
No disagreement from me there. But it is the reason why you'd be okay with Dean Henderson in that penalty shootout and still lose is because he's Dean Henderson, this young goalkeeper who is just coming up.
Yeah, but he's also shown that, you know what, he can save penalties and he has saved penalties before.
All right, so
De Gea's biggest flaw as a world-class goalkeeper, because I still think he's a world-class goalkeeper, is penalties.
It's a penalty problem.
And when you compare him to his compatriots, the Neuers, the Oblaks, the Ter Stegens, the Hugo Lloris, the Courtois, these players are damn good in penalty shootouts.
I wouldn't say that. These guys are penalty experts. No, fair.
No, they're not experts, but they're better. Intimidating.
They're definitely better than De Gea at penalties. I would say
Neuer has a very good penalty success.
He's the penalty expert. I would say out of the group I just called, I would say that he's the penalty expert. Oblak and Courtois are good at saving penalties, but they're not experts.
Yes, because their overall reflexes and height allows them to.
Lloris and Neuer, those two, Lloris and Neuer, I will give you.
Yes, because they anticipate you. They play. I remember Hazard said that his penalty shootout style works harder than a lot of other keepers because some keepers move before you.
I wouldn't just say that. It's hard to predict. Well, yeah,
where you put the ball.
Yeah,
while these keepers, they react where you put the ball. So it's harder to trick them because they don't make the first move.
Yeah, because here's the thing. And I don't know if I'm getting this wrong.
Check and Buffon was like that as well.
Yeah, until check with him head and free for that near post.
Yeah, but he was still a very.
He was still good. I mean, he's checked. So, but what I was saying is that A lot of goalkeepers watch your waist and your eyes.
Mhm.
They watch your waistline and your eyes.
But
Because
the problem when you come up against great penalty takers is that they can be looking one way and put the ball somewhere else.
no,
Which is what
one of the
Hazard and Lampard was famous for doing that. They
they
look
would they
left and
would
put the
is
ball right.
that's not what they do. They actually look directly at you.
Only that too.
They look directly at you.
Which is very annoying, which is very, very annoying. But
That's
as I
one
told my
thing.
brother,
Because that's when I was young and taking penalties. When Hazard was coming up and he first said that is when I started to change how I take penalties. Because
and I told my brother is
he
that
would look straight down, he would look straight down the line while still be able to angle his body in a way where the keeper cannot reach.
because like I said, I told my brother that when you have a great penalty taker, the goal doesn't move. And the goalpost is ain't shifty. And the goal width is the same. So these players, they can look at you dead in the eye and still know, okay, I'm putting the ball top corner, putting the ball low corner, putting the ball in the middle, I'm putting the ball right, I'm placing the ball right there.
Yeah, because the keeper reads your eyes and your waistline. Because again, you can't change your hip motion when you're shooting. So once I see that your hip is going in a certain way, or you're twisting your body a certain way, that's when I can predict how you get the penalty. Now, granted, if a goalkeeper hears this and corrects me, cool, but I've heard that from goalkeepers growing up. That sometimes they would watch like they would watch some lower extremities and see how you.
And I also remember Czech saying that like in the penalty shootout against Munich, he said that he watched thousands of clips of their penalty shootout. And one thing Czech said that also plays into mind is after certain minutes of football, under certain situations, certain pressure and stuff like that, certain players will always opt. Like 8 out of 10 times, they will always opt for their stronger side on their stronger foot and put the ball on their stronger. They will always opt to go on their stronger side when they're tired, when they're fatigued, or when they're in a big match. They will always opt to put the ball on their stronger side.
Basketball players and NFL players do the same. They know that on fourth down you're going to do this specific, or you're going to this receiver, or you're going to do
because you're not going to run the extra.
Exactly.
Right now you're trying to minimize the risk as much as possible. Which is why Bruno never went for Panenka. He just placed the ball into the back of the net. Because end of the day,
let's get them a quick preview for the Champions League finals. So we need to get out there.
Chelsea shall channel the spirit of 2012 and overcome the mighty giants that are Manchester City.
Let's hope Aguero doesn't have a feeling.
Aguero can have a great game all he wants.
No, whoa!
They ain't winning that match.
Don't say that shit. Do not say that shit because he's the only reason why I fear City.
It is, and I fear.
If you tell me that Aguero isn't going to play, then cool.
I fear an Aguero waking up
all time sleep.
And waking up feeling like, I'm having a wonderful day today.
Yeah, and being that he's leaving the club, and this is going to be his official final match for the club. The last thing I want is Aguero fielding.
Honestly,
the last thing I want is Aguero.
Honestly, Mario, maybe I'm an optimist. Maybe I've been sipping the Chelsea Kool-Aid too long, but Chelsea has had a lot of bad luck this season, along with bad finishing, but along with bad officiating and incorrect goals ruled out. And there's a saying in football that eventually
all
of your attackers are going to click. And if you were creating 15 chances a game and missing 10 of them, eventually everything comes full circle and a team is going to get a proper hiding. This is the best team for Chelsea to play.
I don't disagree with that.
Chelsea is the worst team for City to play.
I don't disagree with that. But my problem is
That's
Aguero.
why I believe I know Aguero is great, and Aguero is would be one of my all-time favorite strikers to watch. I would watch City matches just to watch Aguero, and he is a player that he is one of, if there's any striker in the world that can win you a game, Aguero is in that bracket. And
No, because he
but
can create out
I
of nothing.
believe, I believe that Chelsea, there's something. I believe that something will happen tomorrow that will
In all fairness, I
allow
think we're going to play
Chelsea
better than City. I think,
to win that match. My
I think
biggest concern is I feel we will outplay City and lose
no, I don't think that's going to happen. I
because
think
we weren't clinical enough.
no.
But I
Here's the
just
thing.
feel with the fans, with the European reps, in this occasion, I just feel that
I
we're
think City
going
are going.
to.
I think
I
City
think
are going to.
we're
I
going to
think City
win.
are going
I
to
just
dominate.
feel we're going to win.
No, I think City are
The
going to
problem is, like I
dominate.
said, City's biggest problem is Werner.
I
And
disagree with that.
if
I don't think City
no,
have a
I'm telling
problem.
you, no, trust me, City's biggest problem is going to be Werner
You're talking
because
tactically. You're talking tactically.
tactically because
Yeah, because he's been their biggest problem
contain
tactically.
Werner. And if Werner
He
finds back
opens up space for Ziyech and Kai Havertz to get
exactly
into the box, Mount
and
to get
Mount
into
and
the
these persons,
box.
and if if Werner finds back that Leipzig Werner, where in front of goal he's ruthless, then because Diaz and Stones are great centre back, but neither of them can catch Werner. Neither of them can pick up his Werner's manipulation of space and runs is so good that if he had just a little bit more technique and finesse, he would be a great number 9.
Like I said, I think City is going to dominate as usual.
City
But
is
I
going to
think
dominate the ball and Chelsea is going to hit them on the counter.
can I talk for a second? Yeah, so I think City is going to dominate, and I think that we have them tactically. I think that we have them tactically figured out based on the matches that we've played, even the one that we lost recently. I still think that the only man in this match that can make a difference for the two teams is Kun Aguero, simply because he can actually turn a game on its head from nothing.
And De Bruyne.
No, I don't fear De Bruyne in this match because De Bruyne is still somewhat dependent on it. De Bruyne is like LeBron James in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, De Bruyne can take up a shot and score for himself, right?
Yeah.
Can take a shot from outside of the box. He can dribble through your feet if he can.
He can create a chance where nobody else could create that chance.
Cool, but the problem with the chance creation thing,
yeah,
the problem with the chance creation thing is that your players still have to finish, and this is where LeBron's assist comes in. LeBron James can put his teammates in the right position, can tell them exactly where to go. If they don't hit shots, he has no assists.
That is true.
Granted, he can go off for 45 by himself, but if his players around him aren't doing shit either, then he still has
I think it's. I'm going to use a word that it wouldn't make sense, but I think it describes it perfectly. Certain players have that magic about them. When they're in full flight, you just feel. If a football match is like a scale, and certain players, when they're in full flight, they just keep tipping the scale in their team's flavor. And we saw Messi do it, we saw CR7 do it. We've seen Hazard done it, and we've seen Aguero do it. Where when they're in that mood, it's like everything they touch, just gold.
That's where I fear Aguero. I don't fear De Bruyne because he's so deep in the field.
Pep is not a sentimental manager. So Pep might overthink it.
I disagree with this idea that Pep overthinks knockout rounds. I think he gets his ass beat sometimes, and people don't accept it.
No, he overthinks because of the tactical change that he made
No, I still think
and
I
the
still
tactics
don't
that he puts out on the
I
field.
still don't think it's a overthinking it. I don't think he overthinks it. I think he loses sometimes, and people don't just accept that shit. And Pep is one of my favorite managers. He's one of the biggest reasons I'm a Barca fan. So I'm he gets his ass beat sometimes. And
Oh,
Mourinho has made tactical decisions that have seemed like he's overthinking. But you don't hear people say, "Oh well, Mourinho was overthinking in that situation." Come on, Pep just gets his
yo,
ass beat
Loki, Mourinho's
sometimes.
only lost one final still,
No, not the finals. But I'm saying just overall.
Oh,
There
the
have been
semi-finals and stuff,
situations,
yes.
yes, like he lost semifinals where it didn't look like he's overthinking. No, he just lost. And I think people don't like seeing Pep lose in knockout rounds and just accepting that he lost.
That's true. But predictions. Let's just do like everybody else is saying predictions.
Oh, you want me to give my prediction for this match?
Yeah.
My prediction is either 2-1 or a blowout by Man City. 2-1 for Chelsea or a blowout by Man City. Where Aguero hat trick.
1-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, so
1-0.
it's either 2-1 Chelsea or like 3-0 Man City with Aguero scoring hat trick. One out of the two.
Yeah, that's actually fair. If I if City either blows Chelsea away
Or they lose this shit.
or they lose. There's no in between.
No in between. No in
Yeah, there's
between.
no in between. I think this match ends in 90 minutes.
Yeah. I don't see this going any further.
Yeah, this is not going. This is not going. This match ends in 90 minutes,
It's either
and
as I say, it's either
the match
City
is
come out
either
firing.
and also the match is either decided in the first half or it's
Yeah,
decided late into the second half.
exactly. That's all I see.
If it's 0-0 going into the second half, advantage Chelsea.
Exactly. All right,
And I
that's it
think,
for the 90th minute.
yeah,
Continue. No,
no, I
finish up
think,
your
yeah,
point. Finish
no,
your point. Finish
no,
your
I
point.
think, I think that's what Pep is. Like Pep would be very concerned about the flow of the game. I think it's the flow how the game is flowing. And if you're superstitious, the Champions League is not forgiving to first-time finalists.
Nope.
All first-time finalists in the Champions League era has lost,
Yeah, we
and
lost from
Chelsea
a
knows that more than anybody else.
we lost that John Terry penalty. Oh my god.
Don't even
Um,
don't bring it up. That
let's not
hurt.
carry this on. Let's not carry this on to penalties. All right, so that's it for the 90th minute whistle podcast. On Live Sports, please check out the Live Sports podcast. We'll be talking some playoff basketball. The NFL trades are coming in on a rapid, and like I said, for the rest of Live Sports this summer, I think I'll try to get in as lot of the. I'll do my best to get in
Well,
all of these leagues around the world.
it's not like we'll have any league matches to watch. So
Like I said, I'll try to bring these leagues from around the world to people because I really do think that football around the world is improving and it doesn't get enough credit because it's not really that televised and it's not really that shown. So people will still have their same misconceptions that anybody who isn't wearing a European shirt is ass, which I disagree with. But yeah, I think we're in for entertaining summer, and then of course we'll carry the transfer window to you as well. Anything you want to tell the people before we leave?
mm-hmm. No, that's about it. Let's hope we have a festival of football. Chelsea can win the Champions League. Germany wins the Euros. I'll be a happy person. So there's not much to smile about it.
Oh
So
yeah, I don't have a heart in the Euros.
there's only
I don't
one
have
team. There's only one team that can win the Euros.
who.
Germany.
All right, well you have a horse in that race. I am hoping that every team plays like shit in the Copa America and somehow Argentina scrape away with a win. Um, but yeah,
Somehow.
Yeah, because
And
like
Scrape as well.
I mean, in all fairness, there's no team that can beat them in Europe or Brazil. So Chile's playing
Let's
like
say,
shit.
let's say maybe the
Um,
football gods will be kind.
Uruguay is actually very dangerous, but they're more midfield dangerous than anything. They have a lot of good midfielders, but their defense is kind of good. So I do fear Uruguay. But
Okay,
other
so
than
you can do about Copa preview, Euros preview, Champions League review.
yeah, we'll do that next week. We'll do that next
All right. Let's call it a day. It is 9:55 a.m. for those, probably p.m. for somebody else.
Oh, don't turn off this recording. Leon, I forgot how to turn off the recording.
It's right there at the bottom where it says record on this computer. Just click stop. Right here at the bottom where it says share screen.
I can't see
And then
shit.
save it.
Oh yeah. Let's just. I'll just get to end the meeting.